Have you ever wondered that why butterflies and birds both of them have the wings, even though they are not the same class of animals? Their wings are analogous structures, characteristics that evolved in two different organisms to serve the same purpose. So hello everyone. The next topic which we will be discussing here is about the analogous structure. So what are analogous structure? We will be discussing in these slides with few examples as well. So let's start. So what is the definition of the analogous structure? The definition of the analogous structure or the organs include they are the organs of different animals that are having the different structures but they perform the same function. They are performing the same function. Now the characteristics. What are the possible characteristics of the analogous structure? They have a dissimilar anatomy. They have similar function. For example, the birds have the wings and the insects they also have the wings. Both the wings they perform the same function, but they are not inherited from the ancestors. They developed in the unrelated species, a result of covariant evolution. So it is developed as a result of adaptation to the similar environment. So from the wings in the bats, birds and insects to fins in penguins and fishes, all of them they are analogous structures. Now analogous structure are similar structures in different organisms. So they are similar structure in different organisms. These kinds of structure are just the opposite to that of the homologous structure. So they are not as of similar of the homologous structure, but they are little different and they are opposite from the homologous structure. They look similar and they perform the same functions that are anatomical features. For example, here I have taken the example of the wings of the birds and the insects. So both the wings, they perform the same function. That is, they are used for flight. They are used for flying. But they are not in the similar structure. So their structure is very different from each other. They have the wings, but the structure is completely different. The bird's wings are similar to human hands in the structure in comparison to the insect wings. Now, taxonomy. So this was a scientist who first began the classifying and naming the species with taxonomy. So the science for classification, he often grouped similar looking species into similar groups. So this lead to incorrect grouping compared to evolutionary origins of the species. So just because species look or behave the same doesn't mean they are closely related or doesn't mean they belong to the same species or same genre. So they can be different. So analogous structures, they doesn't have to share the same evolutionary path. One analogous structure might have come in existence a long ago, while the analogous match on another species may be relatively new. So they may go through different developmental and functional stages before they are fully alike. So analogous structures, they are not necessarily evidence that two species came from a common ancestor. So it is more likely that they came from two separate branches of the phylogenetic tree and they may not be closely related at all. So they may not be closely related at all. Now comes the few examples here. So this is a figure in which a pigeon or a bird, a butterfly and a bat is being shown. And here in these kind of figure you can see the structure here. So they are analogous structure. Why they are called as analogous structure? Because all the three organisms have the wings, but their structure evolved independently to serve the same purpose. All the three have the wings. All the three wings are used for the flying. or for the flight of the animals, but their structure is slightly different. So that is why they come under the analogous structure. Next is about the birds and insects. So the birds and insects, they are also analogous in nature because they also have the wings that perform the same function, but their evolutionary origin is quite different. So this was about this. Then comes the octopus and human eye. They are also analogous in nature. Why? Because that evolved in two unrelated organisms for the same purpose. Both of them have eye, and both of them eye is used for the sight or for the seeing of other things or other objects. But the, it serves the same purpose, but they are evolutionary two different or two unrelated organisms. So analogous structures can occur at different times in different organisms. So this was all about it, the analogous structures. So I have taken the examples here. Here are a few more examples. For example, fish and penguin fins or flippers. So fish and penguins, they both are vertebrates that use the fins to swim in deep water. But the penguins come from a flying ancestor. So they lost the ability to fly around 65 million years ago. So when their wings become heavy enough to act as a flippers when swimming. So fish, they evolved into having fins several millions years ago earlier for the same reason, that is navigating through the water. So there are many other examples as well that are the examples of the analogous structures. So this was all about it. These are some of the references. Thank you.